Hello and welcome to part 9 and the conclusion of our C++ coding homework, where we are creating 6 patterns for Animal Crossing exercise. The last one to do is to draw a checkerboard. Now if you imagine a checkerboard, basically you start a line from the beginning, then you skip a character, then you draw another character, then skip a character and draw a character, and then you move to the next line and you start from the second character. The first one will be empty, then you start from the second, then empty, then you draw another one, and so forth. So if you look at it, like I said, you start from the beginning, one line, and skip character, then another character and skip, but the next line you start with the empty, and then you start the actual symbol. So basically what we have to do is determine which line is odd and which one is even in order to draw our checkerboard pattern. So not too complicated, so let me show you how to do it. Now I'm going to borrow these two lines, as I always do, to output into our file of patterns, and after that I'm going to do our for loops. So for integer r equals 0, r is less than the number of elements, and you know and saw me doing this many times already in this series. So here's our inner loop for integer c equals 0, c is less than the number of elements, and c plus plus. All right. So now let's determine which line to draw. So if it's an even line or if it's an odd line, we start with the even line, we start with the symbol. With the even odd line, we'll start with the empty character first, or we will basically start printing from the second position. So if our line is mod, in order to determine which one is odd or even, we use the mod. So mod of 2, if it equals 0, in other words, if you division by 2 and the leftover is 0, we know it's an even number. So if that's an even number, but it's not just the C, we're not just doing the columns, but also the rows, because we are printing every other character. So we're printing the first, but not the second, third, and not the fourth. But over here we print the second, the fourth, the sixth, and so forth. So if C mod 2 is 0, or, not actually or, but and, if both of them are 0, so if R mod 2 is 0, so we have our even line, then we will output a file symbol, pattern symbol. Else if it's not true, so I'll just copy paste this. If it's a odd number line, so if it's not equal 0, and I'm doing it this way because we are printing only every other character, so we need to, otherwise if I don't do else if this way, it will simply fill it with all the spaces. It would be filled with the pattern symbol. So this distinguishes between the odd lines and the even lines. So output file pattern symbol. All right, so in these two cases we draw a symbol. In every other case we will fill it, we will fill every other character with the empty space, so fill character we will print. All right, so that's that. Remember, after the inner loop we need to output an empty line, so we move to the next line. Otherwise it would be just a big mess, characters in one line instead of rows and columns. And at the end we can close our output file. All right, so this should print our checkerboard pattern. So let's run it. All right, compiled, no problems. So here's a box, our X, a plus, a box X, and box plus, and here is our checkerboard pattern, as you can see, and which corresponds with these pattern 3, 2, 3, 2, so forth. But we have 15 by 15, so we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to create the checkerboard pattern. Let me just make it something else. I'm gonna make it this and add, and when I run it now, maybe it's gonna be a little more visible. If I scroll down, you can see that it's a little more of a checkerboard pattern. You can see it better, that's all. It's just for the display. It's the same pattern, just different symbol used to print. All right, so the one thing I wanted to do, right now everything outputs okay, like it's supposed to. But if we change the input, let's say make the number 5, let's change it to number 7, which is invalid input. It's the pattern number is supposed to be according to the exercise 1 through 6. So 7 is invalid input, and according to the exercise, instead of running the pattern or displaying the pattern, in this case that was the boxed plus, it will simply display an error message that we have, which should read something like what it is, invalid pattern number must be 1 through 6. So if I run it, everything ran okay. Pattern.txt is a box X plus a box X, but our boxed plus is not there. Instead, it said invalid pattern must be from 1 to 6, so it's working fine, and it still went on and did the last pattern. In other words, it didn't just exit. Instead, it went on and found another valid pattern and output that into the file. So that's what the exercise wanted us to do. So I'm gonna change it back to 5, and if I run it now, everything should be back to normal. Box, yeah, all the patterns are there, no error message. So that's working fine. And yes, this is all. This is the 6 patterns for this exercise. So it's all about the loops and realizing when you print the symbol or the character and when you print the empty space. And if you figure it out, it's really not that difficult. So I hope this helped you. I hope this 6 patterns showed you a few tricks and how to deal with the nested loops. And I hope to see you in some of my other videos. All right, so you take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.